Howdy howdy, this is Origaw. Going to be bringing you something a little different today. This is Bloodborne. This is very similar to Dark Souls gameplay. Controls are a little different because you don't have a shield or anything. You have like an offhand weapon, which is either like a torch or gun, something of that nature. This area is called the Defiled Chalice. The Defiled Chalice is a little different from a regular zone. You have half life here. As you'll notice, if you've ever played a game like this, then you'll notice you're a lot more vulnerable here. Things that couldn't one-shot you before can one-shot you here. Like this particular boss, we've already fought her, but not in the Defiled Chalice. She is an entirely different ballgame here, because as you saw, she hit me with her sword and put me down to about 15% life. So what you're seeing right now, this is me still kind of poking and prodding to figure out how to fight her, because like I'm learning little things that work, but I'm not 100% on how to fight her just yet. So this first one is going to be a lot of like testing, so in case you're thinking of testing some ideas like this to see how well they work, you'll see how frequently she dodges, how weak or strong some things are against her, and then you'll get to kind of decide what sort of strategy you might want to use. I ended up trying Molotovs, poison knives, one-handed weapon, two-handed weapon. I didn't really do much with my gun, to be honest, because I can't risk shooting her and it not stunning her. Because once she enchants her sword with fire, well, you'll see what happens, I'm sure, in a moment. Usually she's fairly easy to read. She broadcasts her moves well in advance, but there are certain things that if you don't think smart instead of hard, you're gonna die. Like if you try to power up your full power swing like I often do, then it might actually come back to bite you. You'll watch that here in just a moment. She gets a lot more agile once she enchants her sword. She's much more active. I was hoping maybe I could just kind of like poison her and just kind of run around and cheese her to death like I did the really big cannibal guy. But not so sure that's going to work here. See, every time I do that full power swing where I do the two circle slashes, it'll knock her down. So that's kind of what I've been relying on to keep my distance from her and still deal some damage. But right up here is where that's going to come back to bite me. Because I'm like, alright, this is easy enough. I can just power on. Most every time I do this, she's not strong enough to stun me. And then I realize, when her sword's on fire, it will one-shot kill you. Alright, so now we have a plan of action. Well, more or less. I'm going to be testing the one-handed weapon real quick to see if it's any better to kill her with than the two-handed. Here we go, once more with feeling. There's one thing about these fights is don't be greedy. A lot of this game is just teaching you don't be greedy, just like all the other Dark Souls games. Because if you try to be greedy, you might almost die, if not die. You'll notice I'm trying to be greedy a lot with this one-handed weapon, because most of the time I can double stun people that I can knock down like this before they can get another hit off, but she swings too fast. She recovers and starts swinging way too fast, and she almost kills me because of my stupidity several times. See, I'm trying to be way overzealous, and it's not working out. I'm surprised I lived through all this. But here's where I realized, you know what? No, this one-handed weapon is not going to work for me. So I go back to using the tried and true two-handed weapon. Now, if you have time to do a full charge attack, do it. If not, don't be stupid. Do that attack first. That one that I literally just did. Because it's, if you release R2 a little early and do that, it's still enough to knock her off balance so you can get away, while still dealing some damage at the same time. So basically, you really just fight her with the R2 button, and that's all you really fight her with, aside from healing yourself and moving. You'll notice I have her outfit. That's from when we fought her before. She doesn't actually drop her outfit. You have to go buy it after you beat her the first time. But in the Defiled Chalice, she's much harder. Because if you mess up one good time, that's game over, and you gotta start all over. Of course, there's a few bosses kinda like that in this game, but the Defiled Chalice is where stuff gets really intense, because you're fighting endgame bosses, like this hunter here, and you have half life. You're basically back to default life, more or less. You can see a lot of people have died here. If you look at all these little red blood splats with the little things pop out of them, that's the sign of somebody who has died against this boss. Yeah, there we go. All done. Just remember, take your time, take your opportunities. Don't be greedy, because wanting that little bit of extra damage will get your life taken away. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one. See y'all next time.